Hmm. Hello, hello.
I'm here. Hi, Henry.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hey.
So I just got a call from John Walter. He was trying to get in, but hopefully.
Well, let me just make sure I've admitted everybody.
Okay,
Keeps asking me. Oh, there's Janice.
good.
It works in sequence. You can't admit them all.
Oh, okay.
So.
All right.
Get a little more light in here.
So tonight I'm in front of my computer, but I'm still holding the cell phone in my hand. So this should be interesting. I'm curious to see how it goes.
Right.
Okay.
I don't see John. I wonder if he's having problems.
Oh.
Hmm. Okay.
Oh.
Well, it's just 7 now. We can wait a couple of minutes, see if he shows up.
Okay.
Sure is getting dark early.
Yeah.
I must say, I go out in the afternoon and it's like, oh, 4:30, it's getting dark.
But it was so nice and warm today. It was wonderful.
I had my clothes out on drying on the line.
Oh, nice.
Right?
Yeah. Did you hear from Karen whether she said she might be able to make it or not? Or
Yeah.
I did telephone her around a little after 6 p.m. this evening. Yes, and I gave her all, the information she needed for the meeting.
Okay, good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So Mary Lou, you said you'd seen John somewhere online, or?
No, John, which is really unusual that my cell phone took a cell phone call. This cell phone doesn't work as a cell phone with anybody else in my family, but John, I know, wasn't that weird? At 6:57, his cell phone called me. I received it, and he was trying to get in.
Maybe your phone is healing.
Yeah. So he's trying to get in on the cell phone. I haven't gotten a request yet. So.
Okay, so I don't know how he's trying to get into this Zoom meeting. I just know that he called me from his cell phone, and yeah. So
yeah, we all got the Zoom link.
that's right.
So.
Do you guys all know how to find the Zoom link on the town calendar?
No.
If that's ever easier than searching through emails or for some reason you can't find it, if you go to the town website and you go to, I think it's meetings, you hover over meetings, there's a drop-down menu and you click on calendars.
Yes.
And it'll show you the month and all the meetings that are posted, and there's a link, a live link.
Oh, you click the
That
historical.
you click on, and it takes you to that meeting.
That's really great.
That's how I usually do it. And it's also, it's for all the committees. So.
Oh, that's really good.
When is the next planning board meeting that maybe we should be? Looking
That's
at.
a really good question. It hasn't been posted yet.
Oh, okay, good. I didn't know if we missed one.
No. I have some possible updates on that also.
To conservation or what?
No, on the
Okay. Oh,
the
okay.
whole issue about the
Yeah.
solar projects.
Okay. So these Zoom meetings, right, that we're all in, I learned are being recorded. Who has access to those recordings?
The town clerk. And honestly, what I did last time was I took notes and then I went over the recording to correct my notes. And I think tonight I'm just going to
Take notes.
not take notes and
Oh,
transcribe them later. Because if I'm going to listen to it anyway, I might as well.
okay.
But you can ask the
You're
clerk.
a braver person than I am to go through a committee meeting twice.
Yeah,
Same time.
right. This is Toonie.
That's a
This is
good
Toonie.
good
One of-
idea.
He's one of our Zooming cats.
Oh,
The cats get very excited when there's a Zoom meeting going on. They
Hey.
really
Oh.
jump on the
That's fun.
keyboard and disconnect it.
So Miriam, how do you find the recording? Do you have to ask?
I asked
Okay.
for it. They're not being posted.
Yeah.
But she'll send you an email with a link.
Oh, okay. All
that
right.
comes from
There he is.
Grace.
There he is.
Yeah.
know
I can't
you
take notes. This has already been decided by a force greater than me.
Well, you were
20-pound
trained.
cat.
You were trained to do ethnography, Miriam.
Yeah.
You rarely take notes when you're hanging out and doing things with people. You do it
Oh.
afterward, right?
Well, depends on what you're taking
And
notes in situation.
Hey, John, welcome. Hey,
Hi.
Okay. You have to go.
Hey, John.
Oh my God, cat.
Hi.
all right.
They're endlessly entertaining, all three of them,
Ah,
whenever the computer's on.
All right. Well, thanks all for taking the time. Let me just post on the agenda, or actually, there are only 3 items. There's no point in that. And we just read off the first item. But before we get into it, I just wanted to be clear on, just protocol. We can't all speak at once, or we want to take turns. So I guess
Raise your hand.
if we could have some kind of protocol, perhaps raising hands or something to that effect. I know it's a small group and we shouldn't have to do that, but just to keep things moving along and make sure everybody has a chance to speak. And so the first item is the Community Preservation Act proposals, of which I am here to say a few words. And Miriam and I have been, yes, Miriam.
Henry, I'm just wondering if maybe we should do the other 2 items first because they're short,
Okay,
and we hopefully can just get those knocked off.
could do.
Would that be okay?
Sure.
Is that okay with everybody?
John.
What are the agenda items? I don't think I got an agenda.
Okay, yeah, let me read them off for you. There's three here. First one, of course, CPA proposals. Second one, review of fiscal year 22 budget requests and capital planning requests. I believe this is an item for Miriam, yes?
Yeah.
Open space plan request, update of history section. Not sure who's going to speak on that.
I am. That's my item.
Okay. And other business as needed. Yeah. People think I'm, I knocked off at 5 o'clock. Anyway, do you want me to show you this in case so you can write it down, or
Yeah.
Got it.
See your screen.
I could share it on the screen? Yeah.
Yeah, it would be a good thing probably, as much as
Sure.
we all like looking at your face, Henry.
Sure, yeah.
Rather look at a Word document.
I should know better. I have to do this all the time with my classes, so
Yeah.
it's, okay, here we go. All right, where are you? There we go. I'm standing about 5 feet away from the screen here, so can anybody see that?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
indeed.
There
Way to
you
make
go.
it smaller.
Yeah, we can make it a little bigger if you like. Yeah. There you go. Not a huge agenda here, but we do we will spend time on, particularly on the first one. Yes. So let's start out with I guess, Miriam, do you want to talk about who is it? The open space plan request.
Okay, so I don't know if everybody knows what the open space plan is.
Might say a
But-
few words.
And I'm not sure I'm the best person to explain what it is, but it is a zoning plan that allows, I believe, and I don't really want to get into the details of it because I don't understand the ins and outs of it, but it is a zoning tool
Yep.
used to preserve open spaces and to allow certain kinds of development that support people maintaining open spaces. And it's being revised. There is an open space plan. It's outdated.
Yeah.
And
Could I just, sorry to interrupt, but Janice did raise her hand. I'm not sure if it's urgent. Janice?
I've written about 5 open space and recreation plans, including 3 for the town of Shutesbury.
all right, you
So
are the
it's
person.
not zoning at all, actually.
Oh.
It's analyzing and gathering information about open space areas in town and recreational opportunities in town. And then from there, you try to have some goals, like you want to have more of a certain kind of recreation possibility. Like we didn't have a state beach. We'd say, well, we need another, we'd love to have, use of the state of the Bennett's Beach, or you, maybe it's community gardens, or once a month walks through conservation land, guided walks, or things like that, that you just do a survey, you talk to people, and you come up with things that people in town would like to see that are involved with open space and recreation.
Thank you.
Sure.
That's great. So the open space plan is being updated. There's a small number of people, a committee of 2 really, Gail and Penny Jakes, Gail Fleischiger and Penny Jakes, that are working on it. And they reached out to me with a request. So this didn't come through the Historical Commission. This came to me directly, asking if I would work on it with them. Specifically, there is a chapter in the document that has town history in it, and it's about 2.5 pages. And it's outdated because it doesn't reflect anything about pre-colonial, pre-Columbian history and land use. So I told them that I would agree to do a draft revision. They are not giving me unlimited numbers of pages in order to do this. It has to be pretty concise. They're willing to expand the number of pages dedicated to history, but and I'd have to check my emails, but I think really they want it to be about 4 pages, maybe 3.5 pages. So I may have to do some condensing of the old content in order to fit that in. My plan is to write about 3 paragraphs of revision. And I was planning, once I did that, to bring it to the Historical Commission and let you guys weigh in on it before sending it off as being complete. Even though this wasn't a request of the Historical Commission, I felt like it would be good to have you guys review it. They need it done by the middle of January. So there's some time pressure. So I've been working on it. I'm about halfway through writing it. And then I will send my draft out to you guys, unless you have any other comments.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Okay, we got a raised hand here.
Mm.
Did you notice
that would be, oh, yes, John.
Did everybody
Yeah.
see that?
Could I just say one thing here, folks? Karen has not logged in yet. I'm wondering if she's having issues or
Oh, yeah.
because she was notified.
Can
Yeah,
someone
she's not
call her?
on the line.
Oh,
Could I wonder if Mary Lou could ring her
Okay,
just to be sure.
okay.
Since, yeah, John, you were saying.
Well,
I was just going to mention about the calendar and how time pressure, because the second round of CPC application materials is due in the middle of January as well. So, that's doubling up the work, right? It doesn't sound like it's a real top priority, but it also doesn't sound like it's a tremendous burden. So I suppose it's fine, but
Yeah, I mean, I've already written most of it. I'm about halfway done, and I
Yeah.
have just collecting some resources, and I'm going to have, I'll be updating the references for it as well. So I would say if there are, I'm not going to, there's a limit to how many references I can include, but if there's something, an article or a reference that you think would be really important for me to include, I'll do my best to honor that. I can't make guarantees in terms of how many references I can include and make this, if I have 2 pages of footnotes, they may say that's just too much because there's other considerations that they have in terms of printing and stuff. But feel free to send me stuff. I do have a lot of resources to rely on, but the more the merrier if you want to send me something.
Yeah, we got a hand from Mary Lou. Is that a hand? Mary Lou?
Yeah, there she is.
It looks like you raised your hand or you.
okay, I have Karen on the phone and I'm
Oh.
trying to give her the phone number.
Okay.
But I
Maybe.
also had a question for Miriam. Did this open space plan people, did they come to you as a historical commissioner or they just came to you to ask you for your townsperson advice?
I don't know. You'd have to ask them.
Okay.
They contacted me
Okay,
separately. Penny and I are on the Conservation Commission.
I see.
Maybe that's why she reached out to me. I don't know.
Okay. Well,
Maybe they
thank you
thought-
for including us. I think that's kind of important. Okay, I'm going back on mute.
Okay.
Very good. So we're waiting for perhaps, well, I don't know if how long we should wait. Let me just check and see if she's trying to get in here. I'm not sure I can deal with that. I wonder if it's automatic with screen share. Does anybody know? Does an outside person requesting admission register?
I don't know. I think you still have to accept them.
Yeah, I know, but let me
should
just
get
stop
those
share
open.
for a second here. Well, should be getting a phone call any moment now. Yeah, I think that's a good thing. I mean, it's part of the whole question of updating the record at the town, and
we can use it on the website afterwards too.
yeah. Thank you, Miriam, for
Yeah.
No problem.
you must be retired.
I am retired.
Sorry to
What?
I outed you. No, sorry.
No, I am retired and enjoying it.
You look retired.
I am.
Greetings, Leslie. I think she's joined us.
Staying quiet.
You're not unmuted yet.
I'm taking this opportunity to read the open space plan, which is on the website. So
It's going to take you a while.
Miriam, what section would you be updating
Well, there's a section on town history.
on town history?
All right.
Brand with more 2020 II.
And I don't know if, Leslie, were you on this call when I introduced this item? Leslie Bracebridge.
You got to unmute yourself, Leslie. There you go.
There you go.
Oh.
Sorry, I got out of the assessor's office late and I just drove home while I was listening. And I was asking, there was one report and I forget if it was for open space or master plan, but Leslie Luchanek wrote the Native American, the early history section, and I wrote based on Bill Carroll's works, the more colonial part of it.
Yeah, that would have been the master plan. Because
Yeah.
there's no pre-colonial history on the open space. So I would say, what I wanted to say to you, Leslie, is if you have any, if you look over the open space history and there's some important details that for the post-colonial or the colonial period that you want included also, since you might have your finger on that, please email me about it and I'll try to work it in.
So that's what I was asking. So you've been asked to review the current open space plan for updates?
For the history section alone.
Yeah, okay.
So obviously.
And you're saying that it's online? We
Yes.
can find it online
Okay.
Yes.
under Conservation Commission?
I don't know where, I think under
Open
Open
Space.
Space Committee.
Open space.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll take a look at it later.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, it's only 224 pages long. But
The entire document.
the history section is like 1 page or 2.
Oh,
So
it's longer than that.
So
About 2.5 pages, I think.
Yeah.
Mary Lou has a hand raised.
Yes, I do. I have a question for Leslie. You mentioned two names of people who wrote certain parts. And could you tell me those names again? One of the names was Leslie. I didn't get the rest.
Well, they're telling me that it's in the master plan, not the open space plan, but Les Honock, who lives on West Pelham Road, took responsibility for providing the early history.
For the
Okay.
master- for the
And
master
whatever
plan.
it is I'm talking about, and without either document in front of me, I can't say what I'm talking about, but I'm just saying that I have never written any early history.
Okay, so thank you. Leslie Honock?
Lachonic.
What's your-
Luchonik,
Okay.
maybe?
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and then you said that you wrote some colonial stuff from a Bill somebody?
So Bill Carroll
Bill
was a
Carroll.
consultant to the Historical Commission, we did a review of records and storage, and I think it was about, I can't remember the year, without, again, looking at the document.
Correct. So
And
what
And
Oh,
he
sorry.
had written a summary of Shutesbury's history for that. And at the time, he was the expert as far as I was concerned. I certainly wasn't. So I just borrowed his stuff in whatever document it was. And I think people are saying it was the master plan, not the open space plan.
Right, right. So Bill Carroll, what kind of
I
consultant
believe,
is he?
once again, without his resume or anything in front of me, that was close to 20 years ago. I'm not, can't
Oh,
remember exactly.
all righty. So
Um,
that, is that
But he was a consultant for the town for a grant that David Ames secured, I believe. David Ames did, was review of our records and how they were stored and where they were stored. It's a really interesting document.
Thank you.
So welcome, Karen.
Oh, good.
Yeah, she's. Can you hear us, Karen? You're muted. Need to unmute if you want to speak.
How do you unmute a phone?
Yeah, maybe that has to be at our end.
Well, no, there's a place there. Let me see if I can ask to unmute. I can only ask them to. I think they have this policy. You can't unmute them unless they want to.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a, on the lower left-hand side there, Karen, lower left-hand side, there's it should be a microphone symbol. And below it says mute. And if it's got a red line in it, and it'll unmute.
On your handset?
This is on the pages, the Zoom page.
Yeah, Karen has a
It's
hand
on the phone.
Landline.
landline, yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
Henry.
how does that work?
Good
John,
question.
John, isn't John on one of those? You're on an
Hmm.
iPhone,
No, I'm not. I'm
you're on a
not.
computer?
It's on a computer.
I hope so.
Oh, what happened?
Because I see an iPhone here.
That's
Okay.
me.
Yeah.
Okay,
Karen
how
was
are you
able to
doing?
do it before, somehow.
How did you unmute?
Me? It came up in the bottom. And
Yeah.
I saw a microphone, just like you said, yes.
Yeah, a little microphone with a red line through it.
Right.
Exactly.
That's for
That's
cell
me
phones.
on the iPhone that I salvaged from my grandson. It was between me and the dumpster. Do you believe it?
Lucky you.
I know.
Well, yeah, we're having a hard time hearing from you, Karen. I don't know if you can hear us.
She's muted.
Ask to unmute.
My only guess, Henry, is that if you're the host, that her muting has something to do with your interface.
Yeah,
'Cause-
you should, as host, you should be able to unmute anybody.
No, apparently not.
Wow.
All I can do is ask to unmute.
well,
Wow.
you can you? Oh, there.
Oh, there it is.
Hooray.
Hey, Karen.
Welcome.
I had three voices on that phone, and I barely could hear the instructions.
Oh,
It
sorry.
said the *6 to mute.
Hey,
Oh,
you figured it out, though.
All right.
*6.
Congratulations. Welcome.
Good.
We just started, really, and we've been talking about the open space proposal that Miriam has volunteered to do, basically to update the
Where is the open space?
no, it's the historical account, I guess. Miriam, could you explain it? I'm sorry.
The open space plan is a document that the town prepared for planning for developing and preserving open spaces, Karen. And it's about 10 years old and they're updating it. And there is a chapter in it on town history and I was asked to update it. So I was just telling the group that I'm in the process of updating it.
Oh,
That's all.
yeah.
And she will get back to the commission, to us, to
Yeah.
look it over, basically.
Okay.
Okay.
Miriam, Hent.
Since Karen is by phone, I was going to make a suggestion that whenever anybody starts talking, they just say their name so Karen knows who's talking.
Yes,
Good idea.
good idea.
For your
And,
recording,
yeah.
listening later too.
All right.
Janice.
Okay, so I'm going to share the agenda once again. Oops, easy.
Is this Henry?
That's me. Yes.
I recognize your voice.
Yeah. Every voice has a signature. Okay. Let's hold on 1 second. And here we go. No, sorry. Wrong one.
That's the secret message.
Yeah, right. Trying to find it here. Where are you? There it is. Oh, okay. Getting rusty. It's been a week or two. I haven't done this. Here we go. Agenda. Okay, there we go. So we're Karen basically and Leslie, we're basically taking care of these two, open space plan and other business, which is next.
And the review of the
Review.
Review of what? Review of what?
the budget
Oh, okay.
requests.
So
Okay.
you want to do that next then?
Yeah, let's do that. If we're ready to move on.
That's a quickie.
It is a quickie, I think. So the annual process by which the town evaluates budget requests came and went. It was sort of, the notice for it came during the time when Janice and I were handing over control of the town mailbox. So there was a November 20th deadline for submitting paperwork to Becky Torres. I contacted Becky and she said it's okay. They're still reviewing things and we can still turn in our paperwork. So there's two things. One is if there's any capital planning requests, if there's any budget requests that we want to make for capital improvements. So that for us, that might be buying things, equipment, things of that nature. Now would be a time to do that if we were prepared to do that, to request it. I don't know that we have anything planned in any kind of level of clarity where we could make a capital planning request personally. Maybe other people have other feelings about that. The other issue is the fiscal year 22 budget, which begins, I believe, in July 1st. The process is that the committees basically turn in paperwork saying what they want for their annual budget to the town. That then goes to the finance committee for review. Usually the finance committee, if there's any, we'll set up an appointment, and now it would be a Zoom appointment to meet with representatives from that town committee. So possibly Henry or would be the representative, or would somebody else, to answer questions. And then if the finance committee approves it to support it, then it would go into the budget at town meeting. Right now, up till now, we've had a budget line of $360 a year. I don't know.
Well, it goes up a percentage each year.
Oh, does it? I
Yeah,
didn't know
well, except I think this year they're asking for level funding.
that. Okay, so they're asking for level funding.
Oh boy, what does level funding mean?
No
I mean,
change,
these,
no increase.
oh,
So, you know, I believe, and correct me, Leslie, if I'm wrong, that if we did nothing, we would still get level funded, or are they changing it now so that if you don't request it, you lose it?
It always was. I can't tell you because I haven't seen this year's paperwork, but it always was. If you didn't request anything, they just level funded you anyway. Or if it was a year when there was a percentage increase, you'd get the percentage increase.
Okay. So it's so last year it was $360. We currently still have that $360 in that account, unspent for this fiscal year 2021. And so we're talking about fiscal year 22, which begins in July. So I will complete the paperwork once we make a decision what we want to ask for, on both of them, actually. So one is the capital planning requests, if we have any, and then the other is the budget request.
Very good.
So I have my hand up again.
Yes,
I believe. Yeah,
you're recognized, Mary Lou.
thank you. For the capital planning request, what's a sample of that? Could you give me a sample of that? What is that also asking for money from another committee?
It comes from a different pot
Right.
and of town money. And so
Okay.
it would be specifically not for our operating budget, but
I see.
for some specific capital purchase. So let's say, you know, we wanted to buy something that we needed for the historical commission and we were, you know, ready to put in a request for it. That
Okay.
would be here in this context. I don't know, maybe we do, maybe people have ideas of what they want, but maybe
Okay.
there's some discussion about that.
Very good.
Yeah, okay. Anything else on that then?
Well,
Oh, yes, John.
This is John Walter, and the only things I can think of, two things that have been on the table relating to expenses. One is the Old Town Hall, which apparently was under some other kind of funding, like the buildings department or something was supposed to fix the foundation or something like that, but
That's right.
doesn't really fall to us at this point. And the other would be equipment to fulfill what's necessary for the archiving project, which has been put on hold because we can't congregate. It just hasn't, we haven't figured out a feasible way to begin the project without all being together at the Old Town Hall. And it's our understanding that that's verboten. Okay, because of COVID, no meetings shall be held. However, to put something in there for equipment, servers, computers, scanners, photograph machines and stuff would just be guesswork at this point, really.
Yeah. On that, I mean, just a quick point that we also need to do a bit of legwork as far as assessing what it is that needs to be archived.
And who's going to do the archiving if
Could
the
I-
equipment is bought?
Hey, I've got my hand raised.
Exactly.
Yes, Miriam recognized.
Yeah, so I think we should table this discussion for another meeting when we can have more time to commit to it. I will say I've been doing some research. I had a full file of information and research I had done on digitization back when I was on the commission a couple of years ago. And so I've dug it up, and there are grants that we can apply for that would assist us in having a consultant help us develop a plan, guide us in what equipment, and train us if we were going to be doing any of the legwork or digitization ourselves. But that's a whole, I think we need to postpone that discussion to a
Yeah.
meeting when we can really go over all that. And I'd be happy to share what I have dug up. And it would
Okay.
involve some grant writing, which is not, there's not huge grants, but not hard grants, I mean. But I would definitely like to see us do some grant writing around this.
Okay, great.
But you get buying equipment is kind of putting the cart before the horse.
Yeah, we need to, yes. So shall we turn to the CPA proposals, Community Preservation Act proposals?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I will say a few words.
It's CPC.
Excuse me?
It's CPC.
Community Preservation Act.
They're both.
Oh, okay, CPA.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Now let's, let me see here.
CPC is the committee then. Yeah.
Yeah. Just bring that up. 1 second. You all got a draft, got a
Yay.
gander at it.
Which one are we looking at right now?
The one for forgetting what it is, and I helped to write it.
Oh, the CSL.
The CSL project.
There you go.
Oh,
There's one that says draft on it.
that's correct.
Yeah, the draft is so dark you can't read it. So
Well, yeah,
not to
I
do
thought
that.
I thought I sent a lighter
Okay.
version out. Didn't I
Yeah,
do that?
Yeah, well,
I'm
my
looking-
printer is,
Well,
it's,
yeah.
my printer didn't recognize it as lighter text, so.
Oh, sorry. There is a lighter version. Somebody else commented on that, John, so I sent out another copy. To check your inbox.
Henry, can we do the next one first? I mean, this one's gonna take a lot longer.
It is. Sure, we could do that. Is everybody agreeable?
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't find the other one right now in my emails.
Oh, I have it here. That's,
Could you send it to me in an email? Or you're gonna put
This
it
one?
up?
yeah, I could post it. Hold on 1 second.
I'm sorry.
No, it's gonna. I thought I had it. Where are you?
I know it. This is like, I'm working with both hands. Here we go. Ooh,
Got it?
yes, sorry. All right.
Excellent. Okay. So you can share that with us.
Hmm.
Can you do that? Just there's a share. It says share
Yes.
screen, but you have to.
Oh,
have,
no.
oh
I'm
no,
sorry.
you're on a phone. You're on a phone.
Yeah, I don't know how
Yeah.
to do that, but I can read
Yeah.
it.
Oh well, it's
John, I have a copy of it.
yeah. Let me just see if I can find.
Not John, Henry. I
had-
mean,
I had it here somewhere.
Henry, I've got mine up. Can I share?
Sure.
How do
Uh,
I do that?
Go
Share
for it.
screen. Disabled attendees screen share. You have to enable attendees to share screens.
Yeah, okay, we'll give you permission, and what you need to do, Miriam, is have that document open on your screen.
Got it?
Okay, let me find you, and
I could take a picture of it.
wait a second, let me see.
Well, everybody got it in an email.
Yep.
I could read it to you. It's
No, here we go. It's all yours, Miriam.
All right. Let me see which one.
It would
Mary post.
pinch out for a bigger view.
There we go.
There it
Oh,
is.
I lost it. I see you all, but I lost the document. That's okay.
Can you guys see the document?
Yes.
Yep. Thank you. So one thing I did just before our meeting, after I was reading these things over, is I emailed Alan Hansen to ask him what was the proper way to fill in those first couple of things, the applicant name, applicant organization, and contact person. because it seemed a little overlapping to me. So what he said was that the organization, like it's done on this one, is the Historical Commission. And the applicant name is whoever is shepherding it through the CPC for that organization. And then
Okay,
contact person can be that same person, or it could be like the chair, like it is here or something, but that's the difference. And because I wasn't sure what belonged in what line. So you're good on the organization, but the name should be a name of a person who's involved with shepherding it through.
So does the, I guess it was Mary Lou and John, you were working on this as well?
Yeah, but it's really Mary Lou.
Okay, well, care to
I
say a few
support it.
words?
I'm behind
Mary
it.
Lou?
okay, yeah. And then Henry, for contact person, can I leave your information or
Fine.
it's okay if, yeah?
That's okay, yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'll do that. Or we change it here. So the address is correct, Janice? It's not my house, right? It's the address of the Historical Commission, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
My understanding
Yeah.
is the Historical Commission's PO Box is 264. Has that changed, Janice?
I have no idea.
Or,
I've never
no,
gotten
no.
it from there.
We have a post office box.
I didn't
I
even know.
know, there you go. Because this 276 is actually for the town of Shutesbury. So
That's
now,
correct.
Leslie, who checks that that post office box?
Let me
Good
just say,
question.
that back when David Ames was our town administrator, because all the different departments had their own PO boxes and it was a big expense for each department to pay for it. He consolidated them. 276 was the main PO box, which went to the town administrator select board. And PO Box 264 was town clerk, assessors, historical commission. There may have been a couple others, but I'm sure either way it would work. But in this case, it would be the town clerk who would get it and put it in your mailbox. And if it says 276, then Becky would get it. It's not a big deal. It's just that on various, contact other outside agencies, I always used 264, and I just, for consistency, you might prefer to use 264. Or you
you
can
also
change
just
everything.
use, what is it, 1 Cooleyville Road? You can use the street address, or they prefer the
No,
post office
in
box?
PO Box, you're supposed to use the PO Box.
Oh,
Okay.
I never knew that.
I don't know that either.
Right, things change, people change, and there's a lot of information that doesn't follow through, and I don't know that it matters.
Yeah.
But I think like there'd be organizations, different historical societies, state organizations that may have you as 264, and it will get to you, and you probably, for consistency, want to stick with it, but that's up to
Okay.
you.
That's
I
good.
think so. That's good. Thank you, Leslie.
Sure.
So is that phone number, is that Henry's phone number or town or what?
That is my phone number.
Okay.
I'm not sure I want to have my phone number listed there. But as
Okay.
an alternative, I mean, does it require a phone number or
Yes.
it does? Oh,
I can put mine in. I don't mind.
actually, that might make more sense since you're the person who's spearheading this.
I know it.
So,
Mary Lou, I'm just wondering, since, if we got this, I'm assuming you're going to be sort of managing the project. Would it make more sense to have your name as the applicant? Because, if there's hiring people, coordinating how the steps, I'm assuming you're going to be,
Right.
that you're proposing taking that over.
In on it. I at this meeting wanted to ask to partner up with somebody if this eligibility form gets accepted. So then the applicant name would be 2 of us. And then Henry, am I understanding you right? So for contact person, I should put me there?
Well, I guess, no, it's just, I mean, they're gonna be contacting the person who's writing it up and responding to it.
Okay,
And also the person who's going to be responsible for any of, paying for things and coordinating with
Yeah,
vendors.
that's always been a big issue. People will write these grants, but then, and get them awarded, but there's a lot of work in following up on it.
Yeah, the project management part is.
Yeah, John has a hand. John
Yeah,
Walter.
I want to just clarify for everyone that the CPC has designed these applications to be filled out by a citizen individual. So any individual in town can apply for money, okay? And that's, I think, the confusion relating to this a little bit.
Mhm.
We see ourselves as the historical commission applying for money for this. And that's fine. It's just a little confusing because it's also designed for an individual to sign up, say, yeah, like I want to build a tree house. Okay, I can sign up, send one in under my name for $5,000 to build a tree house on town common. So then it would, there you go. I think does that clarify things or make things even more?
Well, I wonder, yeah, I think it's an interesting question, who's responsible? I mean, ultimately, it is the historical commission, right? It's under the purview of the commission.
That's right.
So, I mean, Leslie, you've been down this road before.
I sure have, and
Okay.
that's why I'm warning you that whoever decides that they're going to take this on, be prepared, because that person should go to the meeting and explain the grant to them in January. You'll get contact. I was on the CPC too, John, just so you know. I was the historical representative when it first started. So I think it's the contact person should be the person who's planning to spearhead it, the person who's plans to take the second application and defend it at the January meeting, the one who plans to speak at town meeting about it, the one who plans to, if they get the award, plans to get the signs made and get them installed. I did it for the West Schoolhouse sill project first, and it was took a lot of time. And then I did the Hearst House with the buildings committee, and they did most of the follow-up with that, but I still was involved. And I'm just, signs probably will be simpler, but it's still going to take some follow through. So I don't know if you want to have two names, if Mary Lou's going to do it on her own or what. I don't know who else is helping her.
Yeah. Miriam.
Well, Leslie, would you have any interest in helping since you have so much experience with this?
No, thank you. I have limited time, and I want to prioritize it to the things that are my biggest skills. So no, thank you.
Well, I agree. I agree that,
I
agree that it's going to require some grants management, and that's true for any grants, that we should,
right,
understand that you can't do this all by committee. There has to be somebody with some executive authority to break down tasks, make sure things are moving along, take care of, collecting funding information and invoices and getting check requests. And there may be, for a lot of grants, I don't know about the CPC, there often is a fund report that they want with an explanation afterwards about how the money was spent. In this case, there may be some coordination with other parts of town government. If it's going to be put on the sides of roads, you may need to talk to the highway department. So a couple people sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, and again, I echo that suggestion that whoever the contact person is in this case should be the duo or the solo person who's going to be really spearheading it.
I think you have to have one person spearheading it, and maybe that person has an assistant to help with it, but you really need one contact person for the CPC to be in touch with. And
Yeah.
And I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not sure about where this is in the proposal. Maybe others have input on this, but it seems to me that this is very preliminary, and could certainly be expanded. Yeah.
It gets expanded during the second phase.
Uh-huh.
The first phase is this determination of eligibility, which is supposed to be very simple, so that people won't be dissuaded from applying, but they're given a chance to make their case in a very simple way. And then if it's approved, if the committee says, yeah, that makes sense for the town, then there's the application, the second application, which is due in January or something, which goes into a lot more detail. And I think that's what, there's a little confusion about that too.
Right.
Can I just say, Mary Lou, I know this was something that you were interested in, and don't be intimidated by being the head of this. Okay, I'm here to help. And
I mean, I've been warned.
yes, but it's also something that, other townspeople can get involved in. It doesn't have to be just a historical subcommittee that does this, because the CPC is more open-ended. So we might be able to get some volunteers from the Friends or just folks in town who want to help. Greg has his hand up.
I do. This is Greg.
Yeah, okay, Greg.
I would like to help. I don't think I want to be on any paperwork. In fact, I was planning to help. I think it's a great idea. And I'd be very happy to be involved on sort of practical matters, helping, getting design or quotes or whatever and all that sort of stuff. Very happy to assist, but I don't know that I want to be like officially on that document, but I will be involved.
Very good.
Yeah, so Mary Lou, if you want to put your name down, applicant name and contact person, don't be
shy, Mary Lou.
Don't be shy. Just go ahead.
So, yeah, I now have to reconsider. I'm sorry.
All right.
Yeah. My gung ho is being reined in.
Okay.
I'm sorry for that, but it's the truth.
Yeah, well, truth is hard to take sometimes. We've got a hand up. Miriam, is it Miriam?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is a worthy project, and I'd like to see it happen. It sounds like there's a couple of other people willing to pitch in. I don't want to pitch in myself because I'm kind of don't want to get spread too thin. I've got some other things that I'm helping with, but I just want to say I would support this, and I hope we can do it. I had a couple questions. One is just, I told Mary Lou that if we go forward with this project, I would do the printing because I'm going to be printing out the other proposal and I would deliver them to town hall. But so I would need to have a final copy that you want to go sent to me, and because I'm looking at this draft that I have, and I don't know, there's a couple of numbers here. I don't know where they come from. There's a 15 and a 16.
That's the page number.
Okay, so those could be taken out of the document, actually. You don't need those.
Yeah, and it says continued on next page under the amount requested, and I don't have a second page. I don't know if that's because in the final application there, that's where that is.
In the final the application in the appendix has has it sort of being broken down into 2 pages. So
It's page 15 and page 16. And
Right.
before the meeting is over, I would like to read the 2 briefly describe your project paragraphs.
And so the other question I just had, Mary Lou, when you presented is, I'm wondering where the 8,500 came from. You could just share your thinking about that.
Yeah, okay, so that was a discussion I had with John, actually. We talked about 3 of the major districts that we would focus on, as well as introducing the idea of markings, dates, and maybe names of historical buildings in and throughout town. We looked at, I think I sent along the acreage of the 3 districts that we're concentrating on: Shutesbury Center, Pratt Corner Road Farms, and then Lake Wyola, which actually Lake Wyola is the Locks Village Inn that has quite a bit of history. And then in Lake Wyola was a mill pond. It wasn't even really a lake. That's how it started out. And there's all that history and acreage. And so as well as what came up with Lake Wyola is that that church up there. It would be really nice to have some marking on that, yeah. So we came up.
What do you mean by marking? Like one of those little date signs?
Yeah, like a sign in front of the building that declared what it is and its year that it was built. And we came up with perhaps 9 signs, considering 2 of the districts would have 3 signs because there's so many miles, acreage. Yeah. Because this is a beautiful thing. I have to tell you, when I'm in Leverett, I feel really important when I stand in front of those signs. I feel important. And I told that to the sign maker. He said, "Oh, thank you." The guy from Leverett. Yeah. So that's that.
Yeah, and you requested proposals or quotes on what these signs would cost.
That's right.
Then we just added it up and it comes to 8,500. It gives us a little leg room, and we haven't determined yet exactly which would be a roadway sign like they have in Leverett. You are entering, Star Trek Village or whatever, and then other signs could be posted on a building or in front, maybe. But we just have plenty of time to work all that out. It's what was important was to get a good idea of how much money would be spent.
Are you guys thinking that these would be wooden signs?
Well, the gentleman that I spoke with, the one man that we spoke on the phone from East Hampton, was describing me the materials, because in Leverett, there's a wooden one and it looks like it's being chewed up in the corner. So he said something like PVC, or I don't know what that is, right? But it's a wood-like, long-lasting material.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes, yeah. And he was very interested.
You can also, I think I sent you a link. The Massachusetts Historical Commission has it's kind of like a Pinterest board, but I think it's on Vimeo, of examples of historic district signage from all over the state. And I think I sent you a link to it. If you don't, let me know. And it was neat to see what kind of signs. Some of them are metal. Some people were using kind of like an extruded aluminum or some sort of steel signs or brass signs. I'm sure they weren't brass. It strikes me the metal ones may be more durable, require
Yeah.
less maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
So how much do these signs cost? Are they like $1,000 or $1,500 each?
The one gentleman who quoted me had said 750,
Uh-huh.
but he was talking installation and design, etc.
So how does it get up to 8,500 then?
Well, 9
There's
signs.
nine. 9 signs.
Oh, I
Nine,
thought it was 3 districts, 2 signs, and 2 districts, that's 4, and then another. I thought we were only doing 3 districts.
3 districts. 2 of them would have
Okay,
6.
so that's 4 plus 1 is 5.
You said 2 districts are going to have 3 signs. That's 6 signs.
Oh, I thought you
and
said
then-
2. Okay.
there was one district we considered with 4 signs because it was so big. I
Oh,
have
okay.
to again.
Shutesbury Center might have 4.
Uh-huh.
Lake Wyola could have 3. Pratt's Corner probably had 2. There's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
There you go.
If we have another marking, or another sign of some form that comes up. So,
Okay.
and the
Are you
other thing
guys
to
think- are you-
remember is the other thing to remember here is that we're asking for money for signs. Okay, these signs don't have to all go up within a year. Okay, this isn't like a 1-year grant or the money's gone. We have time. What's important is to put together something that will go through town meeting and will get voted on. And then the money can be apportioned out and we'll have time to work on this. It's not like it has to happen overnight. The important thing is to get the application written up and for the committee to be unanimous behind it. I think that's important. We all have to agree this is something that's important for the town. And if there's any disagreement in the committee, I think it really needs to be brought up so that we can come up with an application that everyone's happy with. But $8,500 just disappears so fast once you start paying wages, and installation, and you got to have the road crew come in and make sure it's a viable location or whatever.
That's right.
I have a question, Henry.
Yeah, sorry.
So are the signs going to be laid out so that when you're entering the historic district, there'd be one sign? And then-
Yeah.
Okay, so
So
for like town center, there's kind of 3 main roads that feed into town center. So you'd have a sign situated somewhere on those 3 roads.
That's right. That sounds
Yeah.
good.
Okay.
Right. So what inspired this whole process was the signs in Leverett
Mm.
where it says now enter sign, yay, Shutesbury. Okay. And then we wanted to open it up a little bit so that my internet connection is unstable. Try to keep going until, so if we have money available for other kinds of marketing or signs, we'll have them. Because of the way back when I wasn't a member, I was attending a meeting and Yusef Latif's widow had contacted through the committee. I guess Janice brought it up, and would we like to put a sign in front of her house saying this is where Yusef Latif lived? Remember Janice?
Yeah, she wanted to try to do that and wanted to know if she needed permission. Yeah.
Right. So, if we were to put up a sign like that, if we didn't have any money available or anything, so this way we have money. If we need it for science going forward. Too, also. But I have a feeling this 8,500 will dry up pretty fast. But once we get some signs up, you know, and the town gets interested in it, there might be more requests for signs.
And on the MCARIS
Going
there,
down the road next year.
I'm sorry,
Sorry.
MCARIS.
Should be
Macris.
Macris.
Yeah, on that
Spelled
website.
wrong.
Oh,
On that website, there are, I used to have it memorized, but there are quite a few historic areas, buildings, districts that are listed. So if anybody wants to go to that, MCARIS.
Mhm.
And you can see Shutesbury has a ton of stuff, a ton of historic recorded, you know, it's really cool to find out about all that. And so for people coming here, I think it's important too. For
So
them.
we have a hand from Greg called.
Would it actually be a good idea to start a spreadsheet that named each of these places, and even if it's 20 or 30, you do them over the next 20 or 30 years, it doesn't matter, but to name these places. One thing I knew, because I was in the 250th historical tableau, so I'm an authority, I guess, was that there was a 19-year-old Shutesbury resident at the Boston Tea Party.
Wow, see how cool that is?
Which is pretty cool. And even if there's not a house there anymore, you know, so-and-so used to live here and he was at the Boston Tea Party.
right, right.
So, so just starting a list of what signs should be, you know.
Yeah, that's helpful.
Yeah, the other thing too, what you might, of course, eventually you will probably want to get one bid just to get a sense of
Certainly.
how many folks, you know, are out there
Yeah,
and able to do this kind of work.
Right.
Yep. 2 other people I'm waiting to hear from.
Right.
Okay.
So it's a work in progress. Yeah, you might want to revise. There's some of the language here. I would recommend. Yeah, it's just, you know, commas and things like that. But yeah. Anything else on this one? On this? Yes, Miriam.
Well, I think one of the priorities with the CPC grants is to use local vendors. And so that may be kind of what takes precedence over other options. I know, you know, if you look online and you know, again, you know, I'd prefer to see us purchasing local. You can,
Sure.
there are sign companies online that will do sort of high quality signs that we're sort of talking about for like about $250 that are out of aluminum, extruded aluminum or cast aluminum, which means they're
Yes.
pretty indestructible except for maybe being repainted occasionally. So just as a point of context, you know, the sky's the limit. You know, you can get super ornate with all the, you know, whatever post is hanging a sign, or you can have just a simple metal post or a wooden post. So there are lots of ways to do this, but I'll leave it up to whoever's taking care of this to figure that out.
Yep.
Could you maybe send that link sometime? It'd be interesting just to see some of those examples of different signs.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I will. I thought I did, but I will send it.
I didn't see it. Okay,
Okay, sorry. I will send it.
thank you.
Okay, so we should move on to the next item, which is the CSLs.
Oh, 1 second.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Henry.
No,
Are
no,
we going to vote on this so we can submit it
yeah.
by?
Yeah, we need to vote.
we need to vote. I'm in a hurry.
If there's a word or two or here that needs to be, because I haven't read it, that needs to be, we should be, needs to be changed or a comma added, etc. We should be doing that now, I think. And then we vote on it, no?
No.
That's probably,
Oh, if anyone has any changes they want to make to this or suggestions to Mary Lou, it's going to have to be taken care of after the meeting. I think, remember, this is an application by Mary Lou, all right? This isn't, I mean, the Historical Commission is behind her, but it's funny the way that works.
Okay.
But I think it's fine. I think, the applicant names and stuff like that has to be changed, and this number 15 and the number 16 needs to go, but everything else looks fine to me. So if anyone else has any changes they want to make, maybe it's
yeah.
so hard to do this without being able to like write it down and hand it to you,
no.
but it's
Perhaps any edit reviews, revisions should be sent to Mary Lou.
yeah.
Macris
Yeah.
is spelled wrong there.
Say what?
Macris, I don't know if you can see the highlight I
yeah.
just added is spelled wrong. Should be.
MA.
It should be MA. Okay. Oh, yeah.
And then this gets taken out.
Yes.
Who's doing that?
I'm doing it.
Oh,
Miriam.
there you go.
You'll send that to me. Hey,
I will send this to you.
Okay,
Why don't we change the names out, the applicant name right now, too?
that's right.
Oh, since we're doing it.
So it's going to be the applicant name.
Since Miriam's doing it.
Mary
Mary
Lou? Mary Lou,
Okay,
you
yes.
got this.
We'll put my name down.
Organization, we wanted 264? What you said, everybody?
Oh, no.
That's what
Leslie
that's what
still
Leslie
there?
said.
Did Leslie leave?
But she did say 264. I wrote it down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Contact would be Mary Lou,
Okay.
you're the queen here. Mary
Yeah, and we'll
Lou
all
Conca,
help.
and phone number.
I'd be happy, as part
The
of
phone goes on the next line, Miriam.
Okay. What phone number are we using?
My landline, home work, 259-1376. And then, yeah, you can put my email. And Henry, you'd be happy for what?
when the time comes, I'd be happy to read it and give you feedback on it for sure.
What's
All
your
right.
email? ML Farrow.
Right.
What's
The number 2 at Hotmail. The digit 2, like, the regular number
Did I get that right?
at
Yeah.
hotmail.com.
Okay.
And I actually have a fair bit of experience in graphics, so I'll be absolutely available to, talk matters of graphics and printing and whatnot.
Thank you.
Okay. So we should have a motion, a second, and a roll call for this.
I motion that we elect to pass this, approve this.
I'll second. Who second?
I'll
Who's
second.
Okay.
You
Karen?
vote?
Karen seconds?
Yep.
Okay.
All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Actually, see your name. Say your name, please.
Janice?
Aaron,
Cat.
John,
Mary Lou, aye.
Miriam.
Aye.
Okay.
Greg, did you do yours one?
Yes, Greg, aye too. Wasn't sure if I can.
Who's going to be the authorized representative once this gets printed?
you sign it.
Okay.
Okay, so Mary Lou, you don't have a printer, so could somebody work with Mary Lou to get a printed copy for her to sign and then get it to me, and I can make copies for, to deliver, or does somebody else want to take responsibility for delivering it to town hall?
Do they really need 8 paper copies when
Yeah.
everything's done online now?
I know, isn't that silly?
So,
Guess it saves the town. printing them.
John, do you want to do this
I can
or
print it.
Greg?
I can print it. Yeah.
Okay, so you'll work with Mary Lou, and so I'm just leave that to you guys. And then you'll also submit a copy to the CPC email.
Yes.
Okay,
Got that?
yeah, it's up here. Right
And the
there,
deadline is
the 4th.
Friday.
Thursday.
Friday, this Friday, I think,
It's the 4th, whatever that, yeah, that's Friday.
this
It's-
Friday.
On the form, it's on this application, it says November 30th, question
I
mark.
I know, but there's a question mark, exactly, because that must mean that that day changes, right?
Right, that's December 4th.
Good.
December the 4th is Friday.
Right.
Thank you, Karen.
That's right, confirmed. Okay. I guess we can.
Well, I thought that was going to be quick.
Yeah, that was the quick one. Great.
Right, so let me share the screen, I suppose, with what I've got. So Miriam, if you could stop sharing.
Okay, I'm trying to get to the place where I can do that.
There you go.
Stop share.
Good. Let me find. Oh, okay. I got to figure out a way to get my sharing back in order. Get my host privilege back.
Yeah, you've got to be hosting.
Take control.
Yeah, I gotta get back. Let's see. How did I? All right, let's start. Let's start from scratch here.
Okay.
Oh, are we gonna approve the minutes?
No, that's for next meeting.
Okay, sorry.
Isn't that correct? It's for the 15th or whatever, 17th.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
All right. I think Miriam. Hello, Miriam.
I'm here.
Stepped out for a second.
No, I'm here.
I think you need to hand off hosting privileges to me.
Sure.
Right now you're the host. Well, actually, I am the host.
You're
so-
the host.
Oh, hold on, wait a second. No,
It said stop screen share, so I stopped screen
yeah, I
share.
know, but you're still down as host.
Okay, do you want me to pull up the document then and screen share it?
Let me see if no, I
It'd
cannot.
be easier.
I cannot
Yeah.
do it.
All right, Henry, let me pull it up. I've got it
All right,
open
that might
somewhere.
be the easiest way. I can't figure it out at this
All right,
point.
give me 1 sec. I'm looking for it. Looking for a draft. CPC.
Everybody take in
guess I
a
didn't
deep
know
breath.
that.
yeah.
Hang
Which,
on. No, it's not letting me do a screen share. Oh, yeah. Okay, so CSL projects. All right, I think this is the right document.
There you go.
Right, so
Henry, do you want
Yeah, I'll just, I mean, you all had a chance to read it. Essentially, what it's asking for money is to hire a consultant, someone with particular technical and I guess cultural and social expertise around the issue of CSLs, and as well as a TIPO or Tribal Historic Preservation Officer. And we try to make that case here. And I know a number of you are in agreement with this idea. we definitely want the typo. It adds, you know, a whole range of legitimacy to this project. And yet, it was Miriam and I's, Miriam and my contention that it's important to have somebody perhaps who's not particularly allied with a you know a tribe or anything, but has good relationships with them. Historically, has done really remarkable work in the past. Gets along with various tribes, knows a lot of typos, has a hand in policy formulation around archaeological issues related to CSLs specifically. Well, in sum, it would enhance the legitimacy, credibility of this effort when it comes to getting funding, when it comes to proposals at the town level. We specifically had certain deliverables, objectives, and if we could scroll down to that.
I put this, can you see this document?
Yes.
My notes, it's not the application, it's the notes.
Oh,
No, let me try to update what I'm screen sharing. Hang on a second.
Well, that's too bad. I can't.
Just give me a sec, I'm gonna try it again.
Yeah, I apologize. I can't figure out how to bring hosting privileges back to me.
I think Miriam's got to release them.
I tried to, couldn't figure out how to do it.
I can't remember.
So these were the notes that I sent to everybody. Karen doesn't have this because I just put this together today.
I do have those.
I thought this would be a little easier than reading through the dense paragraph.
Yeah, okay.
I think you're right.
I thought the grant application was well written too, though. I enjoyed reading it.
Thanks.
So I have a question.
Yes, Mary Lou.
Okay, so I think it's very important that both of these applications, you know, as they're submitted, before they're submitted, read, excuse me, the same. So the applicant name is the person's name. So I'm figuring on this one, it would be Miriam. The applicant organization, now have we determined, is that the Shutesbury Historical Commission or the town of Shutesbury?
Well, we're, as a commission, we're supporting the other first one we just voted to support. So it would be saying it's coming from the Historical Commission. That's for the project that you're leading. And, you know, we have to vote on this one, but if this were approved, it would be from the Historical Commission. I'd be happy to be the contact person.
Miriam, can you bring the application back up?
Yeah.
Because that's what has to be submitted.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm still not clear on this one, who the applicant name.
Well, I can
is
change
going to
that.
be.
It would be me, probably. Let me,
It should be, the two should
can
be
you guys,
Exactly,
it should be what?
consistent.
consistent, the same.
Yeah. So
That's easy.
it's fine.
That's easy.
Okay, Miriam,
I'm pulling it up.
Miriam.
What?
I actually can, with a click, a single click, I can return hosting privileges and pull up the application.
Okay, great.
You want me to do that?
Yes.
All right.
Drum roll.
Oh, wait. I thought I could do that. Yes.
Henry, come on.
God, I can't believe this.
Did you Google it?
I just renamed myself as host.
You never left meeting host on my screen.
I know, but it's so weird.
Well, you know, once you give up your power, you never get it back.
Uh-oh.
So power hungry.
You know, Should never give up your power. Yeah.
Anyway, I can't do it.
So-
So maybe Miriam can bring it up then, and
Yeah.
we can work from the very top of the document and look at the applicant name and stuff first,
Okay, let me go
Yes.
back and
before
share
going
it
into
again.
the body of the
The
document.
address and all.
So I'm going to share it again. Is that what I'm doing?
That's
Yeah.
it, John.
See as well.
All right, so Miriam DeFont, application organization would be the Historical Commission.
Yep. Shutesbury Historical.
Okay. And that's Miriam's phone number and email. So that's
Good.
I'm not sure about this, but I believe the person applicant name attends the meeting, the CPC meeting, to defend the application. But I
Yes.
may be wrong about that.
That's what Alan told me. It's the
Yeah.
person shepherding the project.
Right.
And they could have.
And I'll be there too because I'm on the committee. So I didn't want to be on
Right.
any of these forums because I'm on the committee, you know.
Yep.
Okay. So the address is PO 264 for
Yeah.
us,
Mhm.
Correct.
and then Shutesbury, Mass. 021, right?
Yeah.
And then the contact person would be Miriam, your information, and on the one I'm submitting, my name and
Yeah.
my information. Good. Okay.
Great.
I feel better. And I noticed I copied mine, I typed it in, right? And I noticed on yours, Miriam, you put
Yeah.
at the end of each page, Historical Commission Ceremonial Stone Landscape Proposal. Could you put that on my page? Historical Commission.
Well, it's only one page, so.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, at the bottom of it, could you
I
write
don't think
that?
I don't think you need it because it's not multiple pages. It's just like if these pages got separated, you'd want to know, label which project it was for.
I
But
see.
if yours is only one page, I don't think you need it.
Okay. It's condensed actually from the original paper application. It really was 2 pages. I don't know if that's what the CPC is going to look for. You know what I'm saying? I got the packet from John Walter, and it's condensed because I emailed it. I typed it out in an email. So it really is 2 pages. Appendix B, a page 15, then you turn it over and it's page 16 that requires the signature.
I think we're okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not
I
like
just
we're
don't
trying
wanna-
to, it's not like we're trying to get a dissertation approved by a
There you
UMass
go.
graduate program.
I don't want to ruffle any feathers of what people are expecting.
I got
know.
my dissertation returned because the margins were off.
Oh, yeah.
You got to be careful about those margins. They'll
You
get
gotta
every
be careful
time.
about those margins. And the paper wasn't acid free. I was in so much
Oh,
trouble.
no.
Oh my God, it was terrible.
So anyway, I think we're clear
Okay.
on the contact, eh?
Yes.
So I have an overall question about the application.
Yeah.
And that was just why you're limiting it to specifically town-owned land and not state or public,
Where does it say that?
several places.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I
because
could
normally we
respond,
can-
I can respond to that.
Yeah.
Town-owned in the sense that we would have, for an initial project, we have the most say in making recommendations for preservation on town-owned land. We obviously can make recommendations for things on public land, state forest, DCR forest, things like that. So I don't think it excludes those. And I guess what would happen is if we get this grant, we would have to work out the specific scope of what kind of survey was going to be done and who's going to do it. My hope would be that there would be a joint effort between our consultants and volunteers who are willing to go out and collect photographs. If you get geolocated photographs, which you can take on a smartphone, they can be imported into a mapping program that lease has, or whoever we hire has, we hopefully have someone who does it, who can then map it out for us. And then we can use that to present to whomever we need to present it to if we're trying to advocate for preservation.
All right, I know that there's a lot of wonderful things on the state land, and I don't know how many there are. We don't have that much town land, so I didn't want to
we
limit
don't.
the project too much right at the
Okay.
start. But
Well,
you know, if you felt there was a need to.
I can tweak the wording. I don't have a problem with doing that if everybody else agrees. I can just
It's a
tweak
good
the
point,
wording on that.
actually.
Can I comment about
Sure, John Walton.
the whole thing? Because I think you're really missing the point here. I know it's great to be really open-minded, okay, and to think about all the wonderful things we could do with this money and stuff, but it doesn't mention anywhere in here about the planning board. It doesn't mention anything about our 35 days to reply for inquiries for building, okay? And that's basically what we're doing, right? We're getting money to bring someone in to help us write that 35-page, that report for the 35-day
Well,
limit.
that's one,
Okay.
yes, one of the things we're doing, but
Yeah, but it doesn't even mention that.
yeah, it's
Well, Henry, can
Okay,
I
so-
respond to that?
Miriam, please, Miriam.
So John, I think we have to be careful about not mixing apples and oranges.
Mm.
This grant would not become available to us until July 1st. We don't know when any special permit applications are going to be submitted to the planning board. And so I think that's problematic to try to tie it to that. I feel like that's a separate issue. We still need to address it. And we may want to, in the months before this grant becomes operative, we may want to consider a proposal that's more limited to hire, lease, and a TIPO to assist us with the planning board if projects come up in the next 6 to 7 months.
All right.
There are also some other things happening among some of the, there are some efforts underway to get some federal involvement with a federal agency with the planning board. And I don't have enough details. I don't want to kind of get into that right now, but it's possible that TIPOs may get involved through another channel that's totally independent of the town and the historical commission. If they are able to get involved in these proposals through a permitting federal agency, that's completely a separate thing that we don't have a say in, and we don't have to worry about that really if it happens. But we've been talking for years about wanting to do this. And so apart from the planning board, I would sort of like to see us move forward with these efforts. And I think that we need expertise to support our efforts rather than our trying to do it on our own. I think we can do a lot on our own, but I think that if we want to be truly effective and respectful, we need to have some expertise consulting with us. And in the handout that I gave you guys, there's a bunch of deliverables that I'm hoping would come out of this that are totally independent of the planning board issues. It has nothing to do with those particular tracts of land. It's really about developing educational materials and developing a process for surveying properties in Shutesbury and getting consultation on whether they should be preserved or not. I don't know if that makes sense. Does that help?
Well, no, it doesn't. I mean, it says that the Historical Commission is planning a number of projects, including educational programming. Well, we don't have and surveying. Okay, so this is news to me. Okay, that we're planning educational programming and surveying, and now you want to write
John,
preservation policies and archaeology policies and TIPO policies. Okay,
John,
so the problem here isn't me. Okay, the problem is that this will never pass town meeting. All right, and because you're not talking to the people who will vote no.
Mm.
You still have to resolve that. I mean, this might even get through the CPC. They might say, well, we'll give it a try. But I think it's really high-minded and it's very dense and difficult to understand where what you're trying to say and where it's coming from. And I think it would be a lot easier to be more direct and say, we need this money to do this thing that we're told we have to do. Okay, so yeah, we're told we have to do this. We have to have somebody, we have to write this report. I mean, didn't the Historical Commission work diligently to have themselves inserted into the planning board's guidelines for the future solar bylaws? I mean, we've been added to the Historical Commission has 35 days. I mean, that's a victory, right? That's what we've been fighting for since the Wheelock track thing, right? Is that we have a chance to reply. And I mean, this is huge, you know. This is a huge educational, you're starting a school here, you know. But
Yeah.
if you want to go along with it, I'll go along with it too. I think it's very dense and difficult, and I think the same people who voted no last time are going to vote no this time.
May I just say a word? I mean, it's very hard to, we actually discussed this. I mean, this issue came up, of course. But I think it is compelling to argue that this goes beyond our function, let's say, as a reviewing entity in town. You know, we review certain projects, but those projects may not even arrive, as Miriam pointed out, in time. If anything, those projects are going to happen very soon. And the other thing, I just say one last thing. It's very hard to gauge, again, who's going to vote no. I mean, it's okay, we can have a hunch about that. It's great that you're pointing it out. You know, it makes you think about it. But this is essentially about having some kind of educational dimension. It's about having building up the resources this commission could use in the future, such as the ones that you just mentioned. I mean, that's, you know, having a decent relationship with a consultant, with a TPO is perfectly great. Why?
Could I
Yeah, please.
comment?
Miriam.
So, John, I feel like I need to just respond in all due respect to your comment. And I just want to say that I was a bit offended by your saying that we were missing the point. I don't think that that was a collegial or friendly way to comment on an effort that, you know, some of us have put a bunch of time into. I feel like there has been an effort. I know that there has been discussion on the Historical Commission for at least 3 years since I first joined the Historical Commission about how can we educate the town about CSLs, how can we improve the educational content on our websites to make them more reflective of Native American history and acknowledging the original owners of the land that we live on now, and with due respect. How can we help residents understand what might be on their own properties in case they want to preserve things? How can we help the town understand what's on its owned property to help it preserve things? And how can we partner with one or more TIPOs who have a right and the authority to say what is a ceremonial stone landscape or not? And when I was on the Historical Commission in 2017, we voted to make this a mission for the Historical Commission. It was decided that this was going to be a series of projects that we were going to undertake. And I left the Historical Commission in in early 2019, and I'm surprised a year later, rejoining the commission, that we're having to relitigate what I believe previous historical commissions had already voted on as being on their goals. And that we still haven't taken action on these things. I understand that people may be very skeptical about much of this. The planning board was never willing to hire a TIPO, but hiring a TIPO as a consultant for the historical commission is completely within our wheelhouse. And if anybody's going to ever do it, it's probably going to have to be a historical commission. And it would be very sad for me if the town refused to acknowledge and vote for a small project one time to address some of these issues when so much money has been spent on colonial history preservation. It's been lopsided. And I think out of all fairness, even if people don't believe in this stuff, you know, being fair to the folks in town who do believe in it and do recognize it and respect it. Small amount of funding doesn't seem crazy to me. So, you know, everybody's entitled to their points of view, and it's good to have a vigorous debate about it. I don't think anybody's missing the point. I don't think anybody here is ill-informed. I think many of us have spent years educating ourselves about this and thinking about what can the town do? What is within our wheelhouse to do? And it may not be the CPC grant, but if we don't start trying to do some things, then we're never going to do anything. It's my feeling. I'll be quiet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to make one more reply. I think this will be a lot stronger if you mention the planning board document and the report that we have to do. I think that this will be a stronger application if you mention that. Because that's work we're supposed to do.
Well, we're supposed to do all of these things, and all of these things are in the wheelhouse of this historical commission. I mean, last month when we met, you were saying how important it is for us to be doing education. So this is a grant that would help us to provide educational materials.
Right.
Yeah.
We're not, you know, Henry or I or Janice or you could create educational materials, but without having somebody who is an expert putting their blessing on it, it would be very easy for someone to say, you know, that's just a bunch of well-intentioned hogwash that the historical commission cooked up.
So
yeah,
that's my thought about it.
There's I think one of the real challenges here, as far as I can tell, having followed this for a few years, one of the real challenges is to get to change the narrative, to change the way people see these issues, and so otherwise everything else we say is going to, you know, not make sense. And so that's why I think it's so critical to have this kind of educational initiative, this developing our resource base precisely around archaeological policy, cultural acknowledgement of these things. It will all be good in the end. And I think it may avoid the potential for, you know, mixing things up, right? I mean, you know, if we start talking about the you know, suddenly we're talking about solar farms. Well, yeah, well, that's going to come regardless. You know, we don't have to mention it here. We don't need to invoke something that may trigger somebody, let's say, you know, on the CPA. You know, oh, well, that's what this is about. Well, you know, that's why I tend to think, you know, it may be best to keep it on this level. Yeah. But anybody who hasn't spoken have any thoughts on this? I mean, I think we're still, you know, thinking through it. Yes, Greg.
I think Mary Lou and Janice have their hands.
Sorry, I couldn't see it. Yes, who had their hand up?
Greg's muted.
Okay, Mary Lou and then Janice.
Okay, so I just want to put this out there. I think I sent it in an email to people. I appreciate what John said as far as dense, you know, in my perspective, the simpler it can be written, the more beneficial it may be to the readers. I don't know. When I pick up something, I don't want to have to go to a dictionary and be looking up phrases. Okay, so that said, also, Miriam, you keep saying Lisa, and I put in my email, and I'll say it here, that to be true to this work, right? It should, and then there's like this money that's going to be paid to the person, right? It should go to a Native American person. It may not go to a TIPO, because I'm starting to understand that a TIPO is a politician, and you know, they have a different perspective on stuff than might you know, a lay person in a tribe. Yeah, so this is big
Could I-
money to
Mary Lou,
me.
Mary Lou, could I respond to that?
Certainly.
Well,
Sure.
And then I know Janice had a question.
Yeah, Janice had a question, but I also wanted to respond to Mary Lou. I just wanted to ask her a question. Who do you think the money should go to if that is the major concern here?
That is my major concern, you know, and I so far haven't found that person. I haven't found,
Well,
I know that
could
we
you
had a
describe
local,
that person?
I haven't
If it's not
found
okay,
that person.
if it's
I know
not
that,
if it's not a TIPO, who is it?
yeah, I know that we had a local resident, Rolf. We had a townsperson who holds, like, I walked through Shutesbury, nobody's yards. It was all town property. And I saw these ceremonial stone landscapes. And when he said it was, you know, the turtle pointing this way, and oh, Henry, you were with me that day. They're there. What I think is happening in this town is people are like, a townsperson said this to me, it's my property and I can do whatever I want. Well, we don't want to go in their backyard with the bulldozer, just quite the opposite. You know, okay, so that's where the educational part comes in. I strongly believe, like, if you were studying Italian stuff, there should be an Italian person who will benefit by sharing what they know, who wants to, who might also have it as their living. Yeah, I don't know this person yet.
Henry,
Okay,
can I just,
Miriam
wait,
and then Janice.
Okay.
Please.
so I wrote this document up. Henry proofed it out a bit. I've got a lot of experience with grant writing.
Okay.
I've been writing grants for years, and I've had a lot of success with grant writing. I understand the process of grant writing and grant management. I've administered a number of projects that were under grants. Just in the past year, I wrote 3 or 4 grants for Village Neighbors, and I think I helped bring in about $12,000 during the pandemic, just for the Village Neighbors, which is a locally based organization that I was on the board of. So my approach to writing grants is to look at the eligibility criteria and then create an explanation for the grant reviewers of how we are meeting those criteria. And that's basically what I did with this document, with the understanding that for a lot of people, they don't have any background in this. This may be surprising to them why it's important. And why it's a historical commission project. And so there's some educational pieces in it with the trying to get everybody, and also because, you know, this would go before town meeting. And on the one hand, yes, you know, using, you know, I guess big words or unclear language can be a challenge, but I think that people appreciate seeing the justification laid out when they're looking at the eligibility criteria and saying, well, how does this measure up with what this this grant is supposed to be doing? I agree with you, Mary Lou, that a Native American needs to be accessed. And the way that I'm proposing structuring this grant is that we would hire a TIPO. I know that that has seemed like a difficult thing to do. Henry and I both have been making some outreach to some tribal historic preservation officers. There may be a TIPO who's willing to work with us. I got some information today. I need to get more information before I can sort of share all of that. My understanding is that most TIPOs, in fact, all TIPOs will not work with us unless we pay them. That the going rate is probably about $100 an hour. So that whatever amount of time that we want for a TIPO is going to be expensive. And there's a lot of like tasks that we might need done that we don't need to pay $100 an hour to have a TIPO do. If we were to hire a consultant, and it doesn't have to be Lise McLaughlin, but if we hired a consultant who knows how to do mapping and is capable of taking data and putting it into a geolocated map, for example, that could be extremely helpful to us, but we shouldn't have to pay $100 an hour for that. We could hire a consultant at a lower rate. A TIPO, should be, they have the right to quote whatever prices they need in order for them to do what they do. I know that we could get other Native Americans involved. For example, it has been proposed to me in the last few days that perhaps even Doug Harris might want to have a role in this. Even though he's no longer an official TIPO, this has been his brainchild for 30 years. And he knows more about it than anybody else probably. But I do think that having a TIPO is important, and I don't think it's impossible. I think that we can get a TIPO if we have the grant or if we have money to hire one. But I think we need more than that. And that's why on this sheet where I kind of outlined my notes, there's a bunch of deliverables. And if you look at those things, they aren't really things that a TIPO would do. For example, an archaeology policy. Many towns have archaeological policies. We can research what other towns do, and we can probably develop one on our own, but we haven't done that. And having somebody who has expertise in this area and can help us figure out what are the most important things to put into an archaeological policy would save us a lot of time. We didn't even do it when we had an archaeologist on the historical commission. So it's not that easy to do. Things like developing trainings or videotapes or PowerPoint presentations that we can put up on the website so that anybody in town can download them and learn more. Maybe offering, and this was something John had proposed, what if somebody in town wants to know if something on their land is a ceremonial stone landscape? We might be able to offer that to people, saying, we're not mandating it, but if you're curious about something and you want somebody who's really knowledgeable to come out or take a look at photographs you took, we could do that for people. And we could advertise, maybe put together a brochure, send out a mailing to people, invite people to be a part of this. And my hope would be that, by doing those kinds of things, we would develop more shared appreciation and enthusiasm across the town, that it wouldn't have to be a polarizing issue. I really don't want to tie this to the solar project because I believe that's going to be polarizing, that people are going to say, well, I don't care if it's in the solar bylaw. I think that this is an anti-solar thing, so I'm not going to vote for it. And I really want to kind of separate those two things because I don't think we're going to be successful if we link this application to the planning board issue. So.
Okay,
Janice
had her hand up, I believe.
Yep. So I do think this is a good idea. And I think that we have been trying for a while. We tried to get that cultural grant to help us with Doug Harris coming out for a second visit and missed out on that. And since then we've sort of been just treading water, but it's like we get the same old question of if we don't do it, who will? We're the historical commission. That's part of our duties and responsibilities. And the question may be how to do it. You know, we're trying to work our way through. And I think starting with just making some connections before we decided who we're hiring or what we're doing, but just starting to make these connections may be very, very valuable, even in the short term, to help guide us in terms of what should we try doing, what things are going to be, you know, hot irons or hot potatoes or whatever, and you should stay away from them. And I think with some public meetings or open times where people can come and ask questions, that maybe we can get a little more public information out about this before town meeting, and that may help. I mean, I voted against the other one, and you know, now I know better. And other people can change too, especially if we give them opportunities, pictures or something. So I think it's worth the try, and it's something we really ought to do. We're really lucky to have this amazing resource, and I just don't want to see it get destroyed. So that's that.
Anybody else who has not spoken want to chime in here?
Oh,
Yes, Greg.
Yes, Greg. So just from communications point of view, I appreciate John's perspective that we're doing all this in order to get it basically past a town meeting. We have two audiences, and that is the CPC, and the other is town meetings. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we really, and so I'm not going to criticize the work at all, but it is good for us all to come back and focus on, okay, we've got to get the CPC to approve of it, then we've got to get town meeting. And Miriam, you seem to have been, you've got that in your mind. You've been thinking that what can we do with this document to get it approved at town meeting already? So it just seems to me that we've got to keep an eye on that prize. How can this be strengthened or changed in order to get it? And I mean, the town meeting is really the ultimately important one, is it not? We can't get to the town meeting without the CPC.
Right.
So this isn't going to be, I don't know that this preliminary proposal goes to town meeting. I imagine it's the more filled out, complete application. So we don't have time pressure for that.
So,
and I like the idea of having some public meetings that we advertise to invite conversation about this and talk about what the grant would be and what it isn't, because you know it could get spinned in a way where people would be opposed because they don't even understand what it is.
Then we've the final warrant that goes to the town meeting will not be this exact text.
No, I don't think so.
Well, then that's good. Then you can. This document here is for the CPC committee.
Right. Well, it's for you guys because we have to vote on it and decide, is this what we want to do? What I did in terms of expenses was I kind of broke it down 50-50. I knew that, you know, again, we don't have to use lease, but because she was somebody I talked with, I asked her, I described the things that we might want to do at this grant. And I said, how many hours do you think it would take? She thought 100 hours at $40 an hour would be realistic for her involvement. And so I then thought, well, we're going to spend that much for a preservationist. We should spend an equal amount for a TIPO. So I worked backwards from that. We don't yet have a quote from a TIPO. I think that between now and January 15th, when we finalize the full application, I would hope that we would have a quote from one or two tribal historic preservationists, perhaps, and maybe somebody else, but that's where that came from.
Yes, John Walter.
Well, in that case, I think we should add to the next agenda how we're going to go about writing that report. That could show up any day. I mean, we we have 35 days to write this report. Who's going to go on the land? Who's going to, it was my understanding that this grant application had a lot to do with hiring somebody to solve that problem. And since it's not necessarily going to do that, we need to talk about that.
Could
Well,
I,
think,
could I
let
throw
me-
something, Henry?
I'd like to just quickly respond there.
Yeah.
This is going to address that issue. This is laying the framework for the kinds of people who can advise us. I think that what this is about is, again, I've written a number of these grants, and the language you see here is grant language. This is what people read, and when they see a grant proposal, they want objectives, they want goals, and they're very different things. Deliverables. That's what what's going to come out of it? What are the results? Concrete results. For the amount of money, which is really a small amount, we're gonna generate possibilities, mind you. And this is addressing Mary Lou's concern. This is not the end all and be all, right? This is a very meager beginning, right? We get this. There are possibilities, for getting other grants. Perhaps other people might get involved here. My sense, and I became convinced of this, is that politically, if we want to achieve the objective, which is to get the grant, initially anyway, we can talk about other grants, we can talk about other projects later, but this is a way to go about it. Minimize any possibility for controversy, minimize, at the same time, it's very clear, I think, if you read it, that this lays the groundwork for the kind of resource base that we need to essentially to address any of the potential issues that are coming forward.
Henry, could
Yes,
I add,
yes,
piggyback on that? If we move forward with this grant proposal and we start winnowing down and deciding, who are we going to contract with? Who is our consultants going to be? Who are the one or more TIPOs going to be, or other Native American experts that we want to partner with? And we get a notice from the applicant, the planning board applicants. We could conceivably hire one or more of those people that we're beginning to form a relationship with to help us with that document or report for the planning board, and we could pay for it out of funds that we have available at our discretion in the historical commission accounts, rather than putting it up to town meeting whether or not we need a consultant for the planning board. I don't think that's the right question to be asking the town meeting. We already are written into the bylaw as having a role, and we have our own cash F funds that we can use if we need to hire somebody to help us write a report.
All right.
I think that, we have the skills within our group to write a report like this. I've written reports like this myself. I'm sure other people here have other experiences as well with writing things, and could, this doesn't worry me a whole lot, though I think that it would be good to have a TIPO that we can consult with, or a preservationist, or both. But that's a question for another meeting, is, to help us with the planning board tasks, do we want to hire an expert or consultant to assist us with that? And I feel like that should be a separate question from the CPC grant.
So I have just a quick
Yes,
question.
Mary Lou.
Did you get response from Henry, either one of you? I'm sorry, from Doug Harris. I'm looking at your name, Henry. Have either one of you, Miriam or Henry, gotten a response from Doug Harris? John, Doug Harris is a TIPO.
Oh, yeah, I know.
No, he's not a
Yes,
TIPO
so-
anymore.
Oh, no, well, I was going to say is a TIPO who came to Shutesbury and received trespass from the private landowner, Cinda Jones, as did many town residents.
Well, that's history, you know, we don't
Yes,
need-
it is, but it's sort of current if you're going to speak to, you're saying Doug.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
So, yeah, so like, would he want to come here? I know,
He-
I
Well, he
mean,
might very well be very appreciative of being involved. I mean, I think, you know,
Yeah.
it would be a courtesy to him, given his contribution, to offer to involve him in some way. I've been talking to folks who are close. I haven't talked with Doug myself. I mean, I used
Okay.
to talk, but
Okay.
I've been talking to folks who are close to him, and you know, he's still recovering, but he may be able to play a role.
okay.
I
Because
don't
that
think,
would
I
be,
don't think he's the only person. I think we're going to need more than that.
sure, that would be a good thing.
It would be. I agree.
It would be a really good thing in my book.
Yeah, no, he's a wonderful, wonderful human being.
Mm,
And yeah, and then there's this person, Ray Gould, that I emailed everybody,
Mm.
who is very much involved with the Nipmucks. I don't know how deeply involved, but she's a TIPO and she's got all the creds, you know, academic, et cetera, et cetera. You know, looking at legitimacy, I mean, that's the name of the game here. You know, how do we get some kind of legitimacy?
Yeah.
You
She
know,
seemed great.
I thought should be actually a good consultant for the planning board to hire, because they have we don't have the authority, but they have the authority to have a developer pay for third-party consultants. That's written into state law. And the last go around, they hired an archaeologist, and she actually is training in archaeology, and she's a TIPO, and she's a TIPO of the tribe that covers this region, the Nipmuc Nation. She's a member of the Nipmuc Nation.
who
So
was that?
this is Ray
Ray
Gould.
Gould.
She's the Tribal
no.
Historic Preservation Officer for the Nipmuc
Okay.
Nation, and she is a professor at Brown University.
Okay, but you said the planning board hired,
no,
oh,
no.
I said that the planning board
yeah,
has the authority to request that a developer pay for third-party consultants for the planning board.
okay,
And they did that with the Wheelock Tract project. They hired a civil engineering firm and a wetland scientist, and they hired an archaeologist. They could conceivably, you know, they never hired a TIPO, and kind of went around in circles, and they never took action on it, even though it was recommended that they hire a TIPO.
Yeah.
So I don't know Ray Gould. I don't know if this was something she would consider. Have you talked to her yet, Henry?
I've not. I've sent her an email. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Any other discussion on this questions?
I have some people who are asking for me to put me in, who are working on our behalf or on my behalf to try to get me in contact with 2 TIPOs from federally recognized tribes in the region. And if I can contact those people, I will pass this information on to the board of what I learned from them.
Okay. Any further discussion on this? Let me see. Check the.
Oh, I had one question.
Janice, Janice.
Have you talked to someone from the Friends group about contributing? I saw that it was mentioned in there.
I did.
good.
And we would need to write a letter to them requesting support. I was told that I was told by Joan Hansen that she liked the idea theoretically. She thought it was a worthy project. She, by the way, is married to Alan Hansen, who's the chair of the CPC committee. So
Mhm.
maybe she'll pass that information on to him. But I think we should ask. I know that they have, for other projects, they've donated $1,000.
Mhm.
So I was, as part of approving this tonight, I was going to ask for permission to write them a letter asking for a $1,000 grant.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Was that Karen?
No,
I'm
Mary,
just listening.
Oh, Mary Lou, okay, yeah, all right.
So
Okay.
are we ready to have a vote and make some decisions, or do we need to have some revisions to this? I think, it's getting late and we want to kind of
Yeah.
like to wrap it up.
Yeah,
well,
we've gone to the discussion. I guess it's time to vote, perhaps? Unless we'll hear
No objection.
otherwise. No?
So
With
first,
no-
we should vote on whether first we should vote on the proposal, and then if it passes, we should vote on whether I should write a letter to the Friends of the Historical Commission.
Okay, so we've got two items. So we'll vote first on the proposal.
Somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the proposal and carry it forward
Okay, as written, or,
as written,
Okay.
unless somebody has other thoughts on it.
I'll second it.
Okay, that was, who was that?
No,
Janice,
Janice.
sorry, Janice.
Dennis, okay. Okay, so we'll take a vote then, roll call. Henry Geddes.
Aye.
Yes, aye.
Karen, I.
Aye. John.
could people say their names when they're doing this? John, yes.
Greg, aye.
Janice, I.
Miriam, I.
Karen, I.
Karen, I.
Karen, good.
Okay. Well, thank you, guys.
Thank you for the work.
I'm excited that we might actually move forward with some of this stuff. I'd like to make a motion that the Historical Commission authorize me on behalf of the commission to write to the Friends of the SHC and ask for a $1,000 grant for this.
And what's the $1,000 for again?
Yeah,
Matching funds.
Matching.
Matching
matching
fund.
fund, that's
Just to, they want, you don't have
Right,
to have
they
dollar
want
for
some matching
dollar
fund.
matching, but it's as a good faith effort to show that we're not putting it all on them.
Right.
I second that motion.
Okay.
All in favor, let's go by name, roll call. Henry, aye.
John, aye.
Greg,
Jan-
aye.
Janice, I.
Karen,
Miriam.
I.
Karen, Miriam,
Mary Lou, I.
okay.
Okay.
And Henry, you can put me on as I for the last vote.
Oh, right.
Okay, right. Yeah, well, then
Thank you.
Miriam's keeping track, right, Miriam?
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Well, any other business we need to discuss tonight? I think we've
Well,
just.
speaking of alternative funding for the sign project, Mary Lou, we're going to have to think about that for the application, because the CPC, part of the application asks for funding from other sources. So
Mm-hmm.
Is
What
that for the
Marion-
second stage?
yeah, what Miriam did was we just voted to give her permission to ask, the Friends for $1,000, and so that's that section, that amount of money, and so I guess for the sign project we'll have to do some kind of fundraising or something.
Okay, so would that come on December 15th? Don't we have to, isn't that a little ahead of the game? Because don't they have to say, yeah, they're going to
Yeah,
support the project before we
Right.
start? Yes, okay, good. So at next meeting, when will they give the answer? If you all hear it on December 4th, do you vote that night?
No.
yeah, I think so.
Oh, is that what happens?
I've
When are
never
you
done it
meeting next,
before.
John?
What?
When are you meeting next?
We're meeting on the 4th, I think.
Friday?
Friday?
It's unusual.
No, we're meeting. No, I don't have it. It says we're meeting on the 3rd.
Oh,
So I would be, I'm thinking that we should wait for them to say yay or nay
Right.
before I put a vote in front of everybody to do their request from the Friends.
Sure.
And let me just say, I should not be the person, my name should not be the person asking the Friends, okay?
Fine.
We hear you, Mary
Thank you.
Lou.
So, we're meeting on the Thursday, so to be safe, these applications have to be in tomorrow.
is that right? Because they're not due till the 4th.
And they're not due till the 4th.
Yeah, I know, that's strange. Why are we meeting on Thursday? It says, I don't have it right in front of me. Because the CPC has quite a few already. We have,
Oh, so maybe they're going to still review some of them. Maybe
we
they
have
can't do
quite
it
a
all.
number
at
of
once.
them.
Well,
Wow.
I can get ours in I can't do it tomorrow because I don't have time to do the copying. I was going to do the copying on Thursday. I guess I could try to do it on Wednesday and drop it off.
I mean, I'm
I
going to
think
do
what's
the,
most important is the application emailed to, because everything's virtual now. I mean,
Yeah, I
Well,
don't
so
understand why I'm.
it might be worth asking the town here or the committees where we're sending this to. There may be dispensation at this point, given the circumstances, that we could do this electronically.
John,
Yeah,
I don't see a posted meeting for the CPC on Thursday. And usually they have to be posted at least 48 hours in advance.
well, that's odd.
Yeah.
Greg, did you say something?
No.
Oh, okay, sorry.
That is odd. They should be
Miriam,
posting
just
it.
quick, there are, this version is probably draft because I noticed the typo there.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Yeah,
Let me pull it up. Hang on. Where
but
am
you
I?
know, you should reread it and check it out.
Where is your
Oh,
typo?
okay, wait.
Where's the
Um,
typo?
It says it right at the beginning, right briefly. No. Keep yeah, right there. It says let's see, third line down. CSLs in Shutesbury, CSLs are.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
It is
I
hoped that
noticed.
this initiative will lead to establishment a survey of CSLs. What's the problem with it?
No. The third, sorry, not the third line down from the top, rather from the heading.
CSLs in Shutesbury, CSLs are at risk of. It seems like
There it
maybe
Oh,
is.
you don't
CSLs
need
in Shutesbury.
and skip that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes. Thank you.
Mhm.
Very good.
Point clarification, the meeting was on the 3rd, and then it got changed to the 10th.
Oh.
So when I went in to change it on my little calendar, I changed it to 10 p.m. instead of changing it to 10
Oh.
to
I
the
did
10th. Right, I changed the wrong number to 10. So that's why it showed up. It's the meeting's on the 10th.
Okay, that makes sense.
So you have time. You can do it Thursday. I wouldn't wait till Friday. I'd get it done, but
Okay, I think we can adjourn the meeting.
Mhm.
well,
Oh, good.
Look forward to,
Thank you,
It's
Lynn.
late.
it's
So
late.
can we just talk really quickly about next meeting? It's the 15th, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that meeting is to introduce this woman from Northfield
Yes,
Mhm.
Lisa McLaughlin.
Okay.
and also meet the woman who's the head of the Friends.
Yes, Joan Hanson was going to come.
Oh, good.
Oh, great.
And I also invited Michael DeCara from the planning board.
Okay.
Very
Oh.
good.
Yeah, Michael has been observing this issue for quite some time, and
Okay, so just make sure to get the agenda out if you don't mind this time.
It's already posted. So again, you know, if you guys are looking for agendas, if you go to the town website and you go to the calendar, you can click on the agenda and you can print it from your
Oh.
computer. And that,
We've been getting so many emails. I just assumed it would come by email.
well, I can do that, but you know, sometimes people miss the emails. So I'm
Yes.
just
I think
saying,
this is good.
if you go to the website, you'll always have the correct, most up-to-date information. Because what happens is if over time I'm adding more agenda items, I'll keep updating it on the website. And then I will print out and send you the agenda a couple of days before the meeting, but you can't change the agenda after in less than 48 hours from a meeting. But again, if you're curious what's on the agenda, you can always look.
Good.
so I have a quick question. I don't know. I'm wondering, the recording, it is public document, yes?
Yes,
And so anybody can access it.
yes.
That's something to keep in mind as we
Mhm.
navigate,
Yeah.
navigate this process. Yeah.
Righty.
All right then. Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you in a couple weeks.
Yep.
Very
Okay.
good.
Good night, everybody.
Hey,
Good night.
Bye-bye.
15th, December 15th at 7?
December 15th at 7.
Okay.
All right,
And
thanks,
somebody will
Karen.
have to, is it the same number I call?
It's the same number, but the meeting ID will change. So somebody will have to call you the day before to give you the meeting ID number.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, bye, Karen.
Take care.
Bye,
Keep
Karen.
well.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
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 Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
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 All right, well, we'll talk at some point before the 15th.
Sounds good.
Yeah. All right.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao. Oh, man. Yeah, leave the meeting.